If you're looking for a low-level walk that has just about everything, then this one should pretty much fit the bill. There's industrial heritage, a couple of nice waterfalls, and for a low-level walk the views are superb. It may be just only over 6 miles, but there is so much to see that this walk is one you can take all day over. Apart from a bit of a pull up a rocky track to start with, and a step path through the woods halfway round, most of the walking is pretty easy. We start in Elterwater in the Langdale Valley. It might be full of tourists nowadays, but 200 years ago quarrying was the top industry around here. Actually, there's still a quarry here, but in those days there were a lot more. They ran in a belt from Coniston and Tilberthwaite to Little Langdale, which is where we're heading. A quarter of a mile south of the village, we turn right, up the old road to Little Langdale. Nowadays, it's cycle route 37. It's tarmac for 500 yards or so, but when we leave the last house behind, it degenerates to a rocky track. It's a bit of a pull up the hill, but there are superb views to the left. We could turn left here to get to the village of Little Langdale, but by carrying on we get far better views. We're on the north side of the valley. What we're going to do is cross to the other side and follow the line of the River Brathay back towards Elterwater. If you look to the head of the valley, you can just see the cars climbing Rhino's Pass. The great bulk of Wetherlam dominates the view to the southwest. Wherever you go in the Langdales, there are great views, but Little Langdale is something that Great Langdale doesn't. A tarn. The river running out of it is the Brathay. Across the other side of the valley, you can see the remains of the old slate quarry workings. They date back a good 300 years. To get to them, we need to cross the river, and we do that via Slaters Bridge. It looks fairly ancient, but it's not. It was built so that the slate quarrymen of Little Langdale could cross the river in all weathers. Note it's not wide enough for a cart. It'd probably take a sled though. Sleds were used to transport slate to the dressing sheds. From the quarries, we're heading back down the river on the south side of the valley. It's not long before we come to this modern bridge. It might be sturdy and practical, but where's the character? Anyway, we're staying on the south side of the river. It's a tarmac road, so easy going, with fabulous views across the valley. That's Lingmore, with the village of Little Langdale on the other side of the river. Bow Fell just peeking through a gap there. There's Loughrig. And Silver Howe. He seems happy enough. To stay in touch with the river, we've left the tarmac road at High Park and followed the path into the woods. We're close to the tiny village of Colwith, and this is Colwith Force. It's one of the Lake District's best kept secrets. There must be thousands of tourists who travel the lakes by car and drive within 50 yards of this, but they're blissfully unaware of it. In a way, that's probably not such a bad thing. There you go, a nice des res. Easy access with woodland garden and built-in water feature. Now, these are becoming increasingly common. A fallen tree with coins stuck into it. There are a number of these dotted around the lakes now, but only a few years ago there were none. Anyway, we'd better do our bit for modern folk art.
You start it off like that. And you tap it in like that.
Right, we're on the final leg of the walk now. Across this road, over the wall and along the Cumbria way to Skelwith. We've still got the river to our left. Unfortunately, there is no riverbank footpath. Instead, we've got a few steps to climb. At the top, there's one last view of the river down below, before we head off across the fields towards Skelwith. There are a few properties on this stretch, paths to cross, gates to go through. It's not long before we reach Elterwater Park. This used to be a farm, but nowadays it's a guest house. He clearly thinks it still is a farm. Once we get past Elterwater Park, we get great views of Lothrig. That footpath down there is where we are heading. But first, we've got another treat in store. This is Skelwith Falls. It's not as spectacular as Colwith, but since it's near the road, more people know about it. So it's higher in the tourist popularity stakes. Another modern bridge to cross. This one's quite new and saves half a mile hike. Then we turn left for the last mile and a bit to Elterwater. This is one of the most relaxing sections of the walk, and the views are superb. That's Elterwater. It's serene, isn't it? Elterwater is unusual in that there is no path around the lake. Instead, the track runs behind the trees that line the shore. It's still got pretty good views though. At the other end, we reach Great Langdale back, just as it enters the lake. It's a gentle stroll along the well-made path back to Elterwater, where we may just enjoy a pint or two before heading back home.